Wife revealed she never felt in love with me in our 3-year relationship, leaving me questioning if there's a path forward. My wife and I have been together for 3 years, married for about 2. I'm 32, she's 30, and we have a daughter who's nearly 2. In such a short span, we've been through so much, moving in together, juggling full-time jobs, experiencing pregnancy, getting married, even enduring the heartbreak of a miscarriage. It's all been so intense and emotional, the kind of whirlwind that sweeps you up before you have time to catch your breath. Throughout it all, I've always believed in us. Yes, we've had our fair share of major struggles. Sometimes it felt like nothing but struggle, but I've kept fighting for our relationship because there was always something there worth holding on to. Or so I thought. Everything changed during a brutally honest conversation we had recently. That's when she told me something that absolutely shattered me. She said that after just about 6 months together, she realized she didn't feel the feeling, that elusive in love spark you're supposed to have. And now, 3 years later, she still doesn't feel it. She confessed she's always struggled with figuring out what being in love really even means, and that, now that she's in therapy, 4 months and counting, she's finally starting to untangle those emotions. She'd never said any of this to me before. Hearing it for the first time felt like the floor dropping out from under me. She insisted she loves me, cares deeply about me, and sees me as family. But she questions whether that love is enough. Is it romantic love, or is it just about safety, familiarity, this attempt at building a life together? That uncertainty cut right through me. It especially hurt to hear that she has felt that spark with others before, just not with me. She admitted those prior relationships were chaotic, sometimes even unsafe, but with me everything always seemed right on paper. Stability, a daughter, a future. Just never the feeling. We're both completely emotionally exhausted. I can see the toll it's taken on her, just as I feel it in myself. I've made so many mistakes, bottling up my emotions until I finally lash out, saying things I regret when I'm overwhelmed. I recognize that, and now I've finally started therapy myself, just 1 month in. I'm committed to working on my issues, for my own sake, for hers, and, most of all, for our daughter. She's had a hard life, too, a rough childhood with no real blueprint for love or family. I know that this is her first long-term relationship, that it's been a lot for her, too much, too fast. Pregnancy, marriage, trying to build something solid in the midst of a storm. It's like we've been caught in a tornado, barely knowing each other before life started racing ahead of us. There have been deeper issues between us as well. Trust was broken early, things she hid from me, contact with an ex, lies and secrets we never really healed from. Our communication has always been fraught. It can feel impossible for me to truly express how I feel without it all spiraling into conflict. It's like we're caught in these patterns that just keep pulling us further apart, never actually taking the time to build the kind of foundation a relationship really needs. And yet, through all of this, I love her. I've always chosen to stay and to build. Our relationship isn't perfect, not by any stretch, but I've always believed there was something real and worth fighting for. We've shared laughter, real moments of connection, our love for our daughter, fleeting but genuine moments of peace and joy. I've seen us at our best, and I've held on to that hope. Now we've agreed to take some space. It's not a breakup, but real distance. She says she needs space to figure out what's actually real for her, to see what she feels when I'm not around to influence it. I respect that, even as it terrifies me. I'm scared I'll be the only one fighting again, the only one willing to rebuild. Can love even grow if one person admits they never felt in love from the start? Is this space going to help, or is it just a drawn-out goodbye? I'm willing to wait, to work, to give it time, but I'm also terrified that maybe, in her heart, she's already gone. I don't know what's real anymore. Right now, all I know is I needed to get these feelings out. Update 1. Last night, we finally had the big conversation. We managed to keep it calm and honest, no yelling, no blaming, just the truth laid bare between us. She opened up about how she's been feeling for a long time, and I finally let out everything I'd been holding inside. Together, we aired out all the doubts, the pain, the toxic patterns, the shattered trust. I went into that talk thinking that maybe this space could be the beginning of something new between us, a kind of reset. But when I heard her admit that she's never truly felt in love with me, and that she's carried that weight for years, the words hit me so much harder than I'd expected. I thought I could handle space, but today I just feel completely hollow, like I'm the only one who ever truly believed in us. She told me she needs space to figure out her feelings, to really understand what love means to her. I respect that, I do. But it still hurts like hell. We've agreed to keep some distance for now, especially for the sake of our daughter. I'm going to stay somewhere else for a while. I told her I don't want to give up on us, but I can't be the only one fighting. Even with everything that's happened, the lies, the broken trust, the things she did that really hurt, I still love her. I know that must sound foolish, but I do. And deep down, I still want to give this a real chance. The hardest part is, I just don't know if she does. And I'm terrified she might already be gone. Update 2. My wife and I have been together for 3 years, married for 2, and we have a young daughter. Our relationship moved at lightning speed: pregnancy, miscarriage, marriage, new full-time jobs. Everything heavy seemed to come crashing in all at once. We both made mistakes along the way, carrying wounds we never truly discussed. In our last big conversation, She told me that in the beginning, she was in love with me and that, yes, she does love me deeply. But she confessed something that shook me: she never felt able to be completely open with me emotionally. Over the years, she felt like there was always a wall between us, something missing in our connection no matter how badly she wanted it. She's been seeing a therapist for 4 months, trying to unravel what love even means to her, shaped as she was by a rough upbringing with no real example of love or family. I know she's been emotionally adrift, searching for her own answers. We decided together to take some space, not an outright breakup, but enough distance so she could figure things out without my presence influencing her thoughts. I respected her need and moved out temporarily, even though it hurt. But after that, things grew heavier still. That's when I saw the messages. Flirting. Multiple nudes. Meanwhile, here I was, having told her more than once how much it would mean if she sent something like that to me. She never did. But for this guy, she did. She insisted it was over, that part of her being honest with me was her trying to be honest with herself, too. But trust doesn't come back that easily. I don't know what to believe anymore. To make sense of it all, I checked myself into a hotel. I didn't tell her, I just knew I needed to be somewhere else, to breathe. Through it all, I've kept calm. I haven't raised my voice or thrown blame. But the truth is, something inside me feels like it's splintering with every passing moment. And then, in the past couple of days, she's become physically affectionate, lying close to me in bed, holding me, searching for connection. It baffles me. Is it love? Guilt? Habit? Or maybe just plain old attachment? The confusion eats at me. Yesterday, I brought up the vacation we'd planned in 2 weeks. I told her I might just go alone. The words hung there, and she froze. She told me she still wants to go as a family. That one line hit me in the gut, sending a wave of hope and despair crashing through me at the same time. Today, we're supposed to talk again. I told her I need clarity. Before we sit down, I have to write this out. I don't trust myself to remember everything I want to say once we're face to face. I've started therapy, too, for the past month. I'm finally looking in the mirror, facing how I shut down, avoid difficult emotions, or lash out when I'm under pressure. I want to grow. I am committed to it. But right now, I'm not even sure if there's anything left to fight for. That's a new feeling for me. I don't even know if I want to stay. I love her. But I'm deeply hurt. And I'll admit one more thing. After she confessed, I found myself reaching out to a couple of people from my past, old hookups. I haven't gone through with anything, but the fact that I even felt that urge tells me how far I've drifted from the person I want to be. So here I am, on the edge of this conversation, and the truth is, I don't even know what I'm hoping to hear. Update 3. Recently, everything between us finally shattered open. She confessed to me that, although she loves me and was in love with me at the beginning, she spent most of our relationship not feeling safe or emotionally at peace. She told me that about 6 months in, that feeling of rest she once had started to fade away, and since then, she's felt mostly disconnected. I realized it wasn't just her. I had been feeling the same. We'd both been walking on eggshells, tiptoeing around each other, keeping our old wounds close and hidden. Whenever those old scars were triggered, we'd pull away, say the wrong things, or just shut down entirely. Over time, that pattern chipped away at our connection. We never managed to feel calm together for long. But neither of us admitted it. Not until now. This past week, on Monday and again yesterday, we dove into the most honest, raw conversations we've ever had. It was more honesty than we'd dared to share in years. But all that honesty also revealed how fragile things really had become between us. I learned she'd maintained on and off contact with her ex for a long time. That news hit me hard, especially when I stumbled on intimate photos on her phone and discovered he had once asked if our child might be his. That question nearly destroyed me. She insisted the photos were from before our relationship, and, honestly, I don't care what happened before me. But I did find pictures from during our time together in her gallery. She swore she never sent anything to her ex while we were together and said she blocked him immediately after he made that "is it my child" comment. I want to believe her, and mostly, I do. But somewhere deep inside, my trust still wavers and demands answers. I can't help it. It got so bad that I packed a bag, booked a hotel room, and left the house out of the blue because I truly believed she'd cheated during our relationship. Every fiber of my being screamed that there was something I didn't know. After all our conversations and her explanations, I still don't know if I can call it cheating. What I do know is that there were things that hurt deeply and things that crossed emotional boundaries, even if I can't label it as pure betrayal. That uncertainty is still tearing at me. Strangely enough, what hurts most isn't just the photos or the ex. Throughout our relationship, my ex contacted me a handful of times and I never once replied. That was my boundary, crystal clear. She didn't draw the same line. The contrast between us, in our boundaries, in what we thought loyalty meant, makes me question just how aligned we really were when it came to feeling safe with each other. But that's not the whole story. This isn't just about her ex, or mine. The truth is, we both walked into this relationship carrying baggage neither of us ever fully unpacked. I've wrestled with depression for years. I know there were plenty of times I shut down emotionally and failed to create a truly safe space for her, too. She has her wounds, I have mine. We both, let's be honest, let each other down in different ways. The cracks started spreading long before this breaking point. This latest crisis just pried them wide open. We avoided the hard conversations for years, always moving on after fights without ever really talking about what came next or why we kept repeating the same patterns. This time, I told her straight out, I needed space. When I left, she didn't expect me to actually go, but for once, I had to listen to what I needed. We agreed I'd stay away until at least Wednesday. Our daughter is safe and looked after, there's no drama about that. We've put all vacation plans and weekend plans on hold. No more forcing anything, no more pretending. Just space, and honesty, at last. Right now, I'm focusing on my own mental health, on my business, and on figuring out what I really want, not just what I'm afraid of losing. I cut contact with the flings I impulsively messaged out of pain and confusion. That isn't who I want to be. I can't let myself go down that path. If I want to be the father my daughter deserves, and the man I owe it to myself to become, I need to face all this head on, for real. If this relationship is going to go on, it'll have to be something completely new. The relationship we had is gone, along with the old patterns, the unspoken assumptions, and the long silences. If we ever try again, it'll be a total reset. If not, then it's closure, clean and final. We both understand that now. Honestly, I'm exhausted. Emotionally, I am wrung out. But at least there's no more pretending. Update 4. So there I was, blindsided by everything I thought I understood about love, about trust, about the person lying beside me every night. It started with those flirty messages, words meant for someone else. The nudes she sent, she claimed, were from before we were together, but the lies didn't stop there. There was a distance between us, one I couldn't touch, but I could feel it every day. It all hit like a truck. Strangely, despite everything, I still love her. But inside, I'm shattered. She hugs me now. She's warm again, affectionate, playful even, as if nothing ever happened. She wants us to take a holiday together this weekend, a little getaway, just like a family. But the truth scorches through me. I saw her phone. I read her message. She told him she loves him. And who is this man? He lives halfway across the world, married, 1,000 miles beyond reach, yet she clings to him with her heart, even as she stands next to me, wearing the mask of the loving partner. It's become painfully clear now, she's been manipulating me for a long time. Half-truths and changed stories, always insisting I misunderstood, always twisting reality. She's gaslit me, created confusion from truth. And in all this chaos, she never really gave us, our family, a real, honest chance. This revelation was devastating, but it forced clarity on me. Now, I'm doing things differently. For the first time, I'm choosing myself. I'm not wading into chaos unprepared, not lashing out just to create more pain. This time, I want my daughter to see her father stand strong, not crumble. It's funny, so many things I missed became obvious, looking backward. Some would say I should have walked the moment I found those messages, but I wasn't ready then. I needed to see everything for myself. I still don't have all the answers, but I know what I have to do now. I don't think she physically cheated, not with this ex who lives abroad. But emotionally? She absolutely did. Those words she wrote, I love you, they were never spoken to me, only discovered accidentally, lurking in the private corners of her phone. That betrayal stings just as deeply as any physical affair. I'm not reacting blindly now. I'm protecting myself. I'm building the foundations for something real, something stable, so that when I leave, I do it with strength, not in a storm of heartbreak. I'm making my moves quietly, securing housing, gathering clarity, preparing myself legally and emotionally. We're still going on that holiday this weekend. I don't know how I'll fake it, but I will. I'll be calm, focused, because this fight isn't about winning her back anymore. It's about fighting for my dignity, for my daughter's future, for my own peace. When I'm ready, when everything is in place, I'll tell her, probably through a letter, and then I'll walk away, not out of hatred, but out of a self-respect born from the pain she caused. She broke me, but I refuse to let this be my undoing. She might have destroyed what we had, but I still have a choice about what comes next. And the strangest part? I still love her. But now, at last, I love myself more. Maybe if she ever truly changes, not just words, but through real honesty and awareness, there's a world where our paths gently meet again. But I won't wait for that. It's over now, this version of us. And finally, I'm okay with that. Update 5. Emotionally, it feels like I'm getting hit with a new punch every single day. Every morning brings another detail, another lie, some fresh twist in the story that I never saw coming. What's worse, I've come to realize she's been painting me as the villain to everyone around her. She never confesses what she's done, only shares stories about how I've treated her, always casting herself as the victim. It stings, knowing that in their eyes, I'm always the problem. For the longest time, I told myself that if we ever split, I'd just pack my clothes and walk out with nothing but my dignity. I thought that was what it meant to take the high road, to just leave her everything, no fights, no arguments. But after everything that's happened, that high road looks more like me letting myself get steamrolled. Not anymore. Not after everything I've learned and endured. I'm ready to fight for what's mine, the things I've built, the life I've helped create, everything I have every right to. Honestly, when I look back, It feels like she's been cheating the entire relationship. If not physically, then emotionally. She's always seeking attention, always needing validation from men, always keeping secrets. This isn't just about one mistake, it's a pattern I've chosen for too long to ignore. So now, here I am, battered and exhausted, but with this burning question inside me. When the person you love casts you as the bad guy in everyone else's eyes, when they cheat, they lie, they twist the truth at every turn, do you still take the high road and walk away clean? Or do you finally stand your ground and fight for what's rightfully yours, until the very end? I'm so tired, but I refuse to keep playing the fool. Update 6. We took the trip. I told myself I wouldn't ruin our daughter's beach week because of the war in my chest, and I didn't. She toddled through tide pools with a plastic shovel, squealed at gulls, fell asleep heavy on my shoulder under an umbrella. I kept it light, cracked jokes, carried bags, took videos. And still, it kept finding me. Little moments I couldn't unsee, her phone face down every time I walked by, the split-second tilt away from me when a notification buzzed, the way her laugh would go just a beat too long when she was looking at nothing at all. One night, she said she was going for a bath and left music playing from her speaker. The water didn't run for 5 minutes. I sat at the balcony door listening to the ocean and counted the seconds until I heard it finally turn on. I didn't go looking that night. I didn't need to. I already knew enough. The morning we checked out, our daughter found a tiny shell and pressed it into my palm like treasure. She said, "I keep." I put it in my pocket and decided right then I was done waiting for anything to change. On the drive home, she tried to hold my hand at a red light. I let her, because she's still the mother of my child and my body still remembers what it's like to be wanted by her. As soon as it turned green, I eased my fingers out of hers and kept both hands on the wheel. 2 days later, at 2:17 a.m., I got a message request on Instagram from a name I didn't recognize. It was the wife. His wife, a real person in another country with a face and a child on her profile and a life that looks quiet and ordinary from a distance. She said she didn't know who else to tell. She'd found messages, screenshots and voice notes, and she thought I deserved to see them. There was a clip of my wife laughing softly and whispering, "I hate waiting. I wish I could wake up next to you." There was a photo of our daughter eating spaghetti and a caption, "Our little routine, can't wait to have one with you." There it was, not just fantasy, but our life being held up like a preview of something she wanted to give away. The wife and I sat there, phones in our hands, oceans and time zones apart, sending each other pieces of the same story. We didn't rage. We didn't threaten. We just made a quiet pile of facts and thanked each other for the truth. The next morning, I went to my lawyer and signed what I had been too scared to sign. I got a move-in date for the apartment and a temporary custody schedule drafted that actually protects our daughter's routine. I opened my own accounts and removed my name from 2 bills. I ordered a lockbox for my documents, put it in the trunk, and realized that for the first time in months, my hands weren't shaking. I told her that night. I didn't do a speech or a scene. I sat at the table, slid my phone across with the email from the lawyer and the custody calendar open, and said, "I'm done living like this. I'm moving out on Friday. All communication about our daughter goes through the app I sent you the link for. I'm not discussing the affair anymore. It happened. It's documented. This is where we are." She stared at me like she expected me to raise my voice, to fall apart, to beg. When I didn't, she started to argue with the details. "No, it wasn't like that. No, I never said that." I didn't follow her into the maze. I told her I didn't need her to agree with my version. I was already living my decision. She tried every door then. The tears. The anger. The apology with the sharp edges. The "you're abandoning your family." The "I was confused." The "we can fix this if you would just." It was like watching someone pull wires in a wall to see which switch would make the light come back on. None of it worked. I wasn't cruel. I made dinner. I bathed our daughter. I read the same book 3 times because that's how she likes it. After she fell asleep, I wrote the letter I said I would write months ago and left it in an envelope with my keys on top. It wasn't a manifesto. It was simple. I told her I loved her and I couldn't live inside her story anymore. I told her I'd fight for my daughter, and for myself, but I wasn't fighting for a place I never really had. Friday, I packed my clothes into 3 suitcases and carried them down to the car while our daughter stacked cups in the kitchen. I told her I was setting up a new room for her, with the moon nightlight she loves. I told her I'd pick her up tomorrow at 10 for pancakes. She said pancakes and clapped, and that's what I held on to when I closed the door behind me. My wife stood in the hallway watching me go, and for 1 second, I saw the girl I met, hopeful, scared, trying. Then the second passed and I kept walking. The first night in the new place, I slept like a human being for the first time in a year. No dread, no waiting for a sound in the hallway, no feeling like I'd left the oven on. In the morning, I put together an IKEA dresser and swore at the Allen key like a normal person, and then I went to get my daughter. She ran around the empty living room squealing at how echoey her footsteps sounded. We ate pancakes on the floor and watched cartoons on my laptop, and I kept catching myself smiling without thinking about it. I'm not being vindictive. I'm not telling stories to her friends or her parents. I'm not throwing stones. I don't have to. The truth sits there, quiet and solid. She can paint me however she needs to get through this. I can't control that. What I can do is show up on time, keep records, stick to the schedule, answer only about our child, and let the rest go where it goes. The wife overseas sent one more message today. Thank you for being kind. I told her the same. There's grief in every corner of this. I open a cupboard and expect to see her mug. I hear a song and feel that old automatic ache. I still love her, and I'm not going to pretend I don't. But love without safety is just longing, and I'm done living on crumbs. This version of us is finished. The new thing is simple and strict and boring on purpose. 2 houses, 1 child, boundaries you can't argue with. The shell my daughter pressed into my hand is on the windowsill now. It isn't much. It's small and a little cracked and still manages to catch the light when the sun moves across the room in the afternoon. That's enough for me, right now. That and pancakes at 10. That and sleep. That and the quiet, which finally feels like peace instead of punishment. Update 7. 2 days after pancakes on the floor, I woke up to another message from her, the other her, the wife overseas. No preamble this time, just a screenshot of an itinerary with my wife's name on it and a city I've only ever seen on maps. Departure in 3 weeks. A second screenshot followed. Will finally be us, my wife had written. I'm looking at passport appointments. I went to the trunk and opened the lockbox like it might hiss at me. Birth certificates, my passport, our daughter's vaccine card. One thing missing. Hers. I knew immediately. I could see the manila sleeve where it used to live, the ghost of it on the bottom. My hands started to do that old thing, buzzing like they weren't connected to me. I closed the box. I put it back. I called my lawyer and said the only sentence I could get out without breaking. She's planning to take our daughter out of the country. By noon, I was in a courthouse hallway that smelled like mop water and paper. A clerk with chipped blue nail polish slid forms under the glass and told me where to sign. The judge wasn't in a robe, he was in a button-down with his reading glasses halfway down his nose. He read, he asked me one question, he signed. Temporary order. No travel out of state without written consent. Passports to be held by me until further notice. I didn't feel victorious. I felt like I'd just sandbagged against a flood no one else could see coming. On the app that night, I wrote, per the court's temporary order, our daughter's passport remains in my possession. No travel outside state, without written consent. She responded in the old language, indignant, wounded, accusing. You're controlling. It was a weekend away. You've made me a prisoner. I didn't step into it. All communications about pickup/drop-off only. See order attached. She sent 3 more bubbles. I let them fade. At 11, our daughter woke hot and glassy-eyed, her hair stuck damp to her forehead. 102. I sat on the edge of her new bed and sponged her neck with a cool washcloth while cartoons murmured from my laptop on mute. She put her palm on my cheek and whispered, stay. I did. I called the nurse line. I measured liquid ibuprofen with the carefulness of someone defusing a bomb. At 3 a.m., she slept, and I stayed, and the only sound in the whole place was the fan pushing thin air around and the small impossible machine of her breath. That's the truth of it, under all the paperwork and screenshots. I am her dad. I am right here. Mediation was the next afternoon. A woman with a potted ficus and a stack of pens sat us at opposite ends of a table and asked us to speak to her, not to each other. My wife wore a sweater I bought her last winter, the blue one that used to make her eyes look like summer. She told the mediator she just needed a break somewhere quiet. She said she wouldn't have taken our daughter. I slid the printouts across without looking at my wife. The mediator read, uncapped a pen, drew a neat line. No out-of-state travel. No introducing third parties to the child. Parallel parenting only. We signed. My wife's hand shook, just a little. I thought about the bag of hair ties in our bathroom at the old place, the way she used to braid her hair in a hurry with the tail end between her teeth. I pressed harder into the pen so the ink wouldn't skip. When I got home, an email from the lab was waiting. Subject line, your results are ready. I sat on the closed toilet lid with my phone in my palm and opened it like it might bite. Words flickered into place. Probability of paternity, 999%. I made a sound I've never heard come out of me, something between a laugh and a sob and a bruise finally touched. I didn't know how much of that question I'd been carrying until it dropped through me like a stone into deep water and kept going. I washed my face. I went into the living room and built a cardboard rocket ship with my daughter. We colored a window on it, and she crawled in and popped her face through and said, hello. I said, hi, astronaut. It felt like breathing in a room where the window had finally been opened. He tried, of course, the man. A new email address, subject line man to man. I watched it appear and didn't let it in. Filter. Trash. It felt good to not be a participant in my own humiliation anymore. Friday, I set up her moon nightlight and screwed the tiny copper star hooks into the wall for her sweaters. She watched me with solemn concentration and held the screws like treasure. We ate spaghetti again because it's the only thing she never says no to, because she slurps the noodles and then claps like she's invented joy. The shell is on the windowsill catching the late light. The apartment smells like garlic and that baby shampoo that makes her hair smell like an apple orchard and a swimming pool at once. There was a knock. Not pounding, just that tentative 3-tap rhythm I know like my own name. I opened the door and stood with my shoulder against the frame. She was there with her hands in her sleeves, like she was cold and sorry. She said she'd canceled the ticket. She held her phone up with the refund page like it was proof of a thing you can't photograph. Good, I said. I didn't move. She asked to come in and see the room. I looked past her and saw a man walking his dog in the same car that always parks crooked. The world was still happening. Not tonight, I said. Send a time on the app. We'll make it happen properly. She swallowed like that hurt worse than if I'd yelled. Where's her birth certificate? I asked. She said she didn't know what I was talking about. I said, the court will sort it. She asked me if I ever loved her or if it was all paperwork for me now. I said, both can be true at the same time. I didn't mean it to be cruel. It wasn't. It was just the shape of things. After she left, my daughter put both hands on my face and said, "Dada sad?" I told her I was tired, which is the only version of the truth a 2-year-old can use. We brushed our teeth together. She spit into the sink like a champion. I turned on the moon and set the rocket ship next to her dresser. She fell asleep on her back with her arms up like she'd just won something. This life is small and deliberate and nothing like what I pictured when I said I do. It's a sock in the laundry that doesn't have a partner yet. It's the way the AC kicks on in the middle of the night and makes the curtains lift like a breath. It's a court order in a folder on my counter and a nightlight in the shape of the moon and pancakes at 10 on Saturdays. It's enough. The other wife wrote once more, just a single line this time. He's moving out next week. I stared at those 5 words for a long minute. I didn't reply. I turned off my phone. I went and stood in the doorway of my daughter's room and watched the moon throw soft light onto her cheeks. The shell glowed a little in the corner like it remembered the sun from another life. Update 8. The email hit while I was standing in Target with a box of pull-ups in one hand and a pack of blueberries in the other. Subject line, child passport issuance alert. It felt like a string pulling tight from my sternum to the floor. Appointment at 2:30 p.m. at a post office 10 minutes from her place. I put the blueberries back. I stood there and watched my reflection in the freezer door so I wouldn't run. I didn't go storming in. I called my lawyer. I forwarded the order. I called the number in the email, gave the case number, gave the clerk the judge's name, gave the language printed in black ink, both parent consent required, existing order prohibiting travel. We'll flag it, the woman on the line said. Her voice sounded like someone who's said those words 1,000 times. At 2:15, I was in the parking lot anyway. I sat with the AC on and my hands flat on my knees like a kid learning to meditate. The lobby lights flickered in that old government building way. People went in holding little bundles of paper, came out with their shoulders dropped. At 2:41, I saw her through the glass. Our daughter on her hip in the yellow rain boots she refuses to take off even when the sun's blinding. A stack of forms in my wife's hand. A woman behind the counter took the paper, looked down, looked back up, disappeared through a door. When she came back, she had a man with her in a tie. More looking down. My phone buzzed. There is an alert on file, the email said. Application cannot be processed. My wife turned her face toward the ceiling like there might be answers up there. Our daughter pressed both palms to the glass and blew a fog circle like she discovered a new kind of magic. I watched the man in the tie point to a line on the paper and saw the exact moment my wife read my name attached to it. I didn't go in. I didn't wave. I put the car in drive and left before our eyes could find each other. 2 hours later, there was a knock and then the muffled basin sink echo of voices through the door. Welfare check, the lower one said when I opened. 2 officers on my doormat trying too hard to look casual in bulletproof vests. We got a call, you're withholding the child. The word withholding tried to crawl under my skin. I stepped back and let them see the rocket ship, the moon nightlight still glowing from nap time, the plate with a half-eaten sandwich shaped like a bear because that's the only way she'll eat them lately. It's my day, I said, and slid the order across my entry table the way I slide everything across tables now. The older officer read, nodded once, then to his partner. He's in compliance. The little one, my little one, appeared in the hallway clutching a stuffed giraffe by the neck. Hi police, she said, like it was a single word. They cracked open into real people for a second. Hi, kiddo. They left with their voices soft, told me to have a good night. After the door clicked, I stood there with my forehead against it and laughed once out of pure exhaustion. We had mediation again because now everything lives on paper. The same ficus, the same pens. The mediator made a note when I mentioned the passport attempt, drew another line. Exchanges will be at the precinct lobby, she said, and clicked her pen like a gavel. My wife looked like she hadn't slept. She kept pressing her lips together like someone holding a sentence in their mouth too long. I didn't mean, she started, then stopped. I didn't ask her to finish it. The other wife wrote back exactly one time after her last message, a photo of his empty side of their closet, a line of hung shirts, then nothing, then a pile of hangers like a small flock of metal birds on the floor. He's gone, she said. I typed I'm sorry and deleted it. I put my phone in a drawer and went to stack blocks with my daughter because the only architecture I can handle building right now is one that falls over with a laugh. The birth certificate was in the place it would be if you were thinking like her and not like me, the pocket under the stroller seat, folded in thirds, soft as Fabric from being carried around. I found it when I reached in for wipes and my fingers brushed that legal paper stiffness that makes your pulse do a trick. I didn't text her. I put it in the lockbox. I ordered 3 certified copies from Vital Records and stood in a line that smelled like toner and old coffee while a woman with a butterfly pin on her lapel stamped dates with the kind of satisfaction I wish I was allowed to feel. Daycare orientation was a Tuesday with clouds that wanted to rain but didn't. Tiny cubbies with masking tape names. I wrote hers in block letters. A parent handbook that reads like scripture when you're holding your whole life by the corner with 2 fingers. I handed them a copy of the order. Only these people pick her up, I said, and pointed to the names. The teacher had a strand of glitter in her hair like a star she forgot to take off. We've got you, she said. We filled out a form about allergies and nap time and whether there are words she uses that might be hard for new ears to understand. Moon on, I wrote. Pancakes. No tub dog. Bath toys are all dogs in our house. Long story, I walked back to the car and sat a minute because I felt something like a battery warming for the first time in months. I filed the divorce papers. Nothing poetic about it, just my name, her name, a case number that will follow us like a shadow until a gavel says we can step into a new one. The process server called me from the parking lot of the grocery store where she works on Thursdays. Served at 4:12, he said, like giving the time was part of the ritual. The app lit up later with I didn't think you'd actually do it. I typed, please use the app for child-related matters only, and hit send. It felt like fastening a seatbelt. Click. Done. She tried video calling outside the designated time and I didn't answer. She sent, please, so I wrote back with a new slot, 7 o'clock. At 7:03, I propped the phone on the counter and angled it toward the high chair. Our daughter said mama and held up a noodle like a trophy. My wife cried and told her about a cat she saw in the window on her walk. I stirred sauce and pretended it didn't affect me. After 5 minutes, I said, say bye-bye, and my daughter flapped her hand so hard she almost knocked her juice over. We hung up. We didn't speak as adults. It wasn't unkind. It was a gate that opens and closes, nothing more. He tried again from a new email, this time with a subject line that read like a dare. I didn't open it. The filter works like a bouncer at a door I don't want to be near. There's a certain kind of quiet that's not peace. This new quiet is. It's the clink of her cup on the table. It's the dishwasher wheezing into life. It's the way she looks for me over her shoulder before stepping off a curb and doesn't see me because I'm exactly where I should be, holding her hand. Tonight, for the first time since I left, she fell apart at drop-off and asked to come in just for a minute. The precinct lobby is all plastic chairs and a bulletin board with faded missing pet flyers taped over one another like tree rings. I said, not tonight. She stood there in that blue sweater and pulled her sleeves over her hands until there was more sleeve than fingers. Do you hate me? She said to the floor. No, I said, because that's true. Hate is hot and quick. What I feel is colder and more honest. I just don't live there anymore. After bedtime, I put the shell in a little dish so it wouldn't get knocked off the sill when we open the window. The moon nightlight hums like a low conversation. There's a court order in a folder, signed papers in a drawer, a daycare schedule on the fridge, 3 certified birth certificates in a box in the trunk. It sounds like bureaucracy. It feels like a shape my life can sit inside without sloshing everywhere. She breathed through her mouth tonight, loud little puffs, arms thrown up like victory again. I watched the rise and fall, the simple proof that I don't need to win anything. I just need to keep showing up. I used to think love was the thing you proved in grand scenes, airports, speeches, gestures. Now it's a Ziploc bag of apple slices cut thin because she likes them that way. It's 7 o'clock FaceTimes and not a minute more. It's standing in a post office parking lot and choosing the car over the confrontation. It's the rocket ship on its side because she fell asleep mid-mission and I didn't want the cardboard to fold wrong when I moved it. When I finally went to bed, the AC turned on and lifted the curtains like a quiet applause. I lay there and realized I hadn't thought about what she was doing in 2 hours. I hadn't opened the drawer to look at my phone. The shell caught the last of the streetlight and put a sliver of ocean on the wall. It's small and cracked and it still shines. So do we, apparently. In our own separate rooms. In the ways that matter.